It is too early in the morning. Oh well, I guess everybody's still asleep. But anyways, I guess I'll just talk and do my live stream anyway. So good morning for those who wish to view my video after I post it. Early in the morning, 5:39 a.m. On my way to work, hump day, and so far it's starting to pick up a little bit in regards to getting closer to doing some real work. But the only reason why I say that is because yesterday I pretty much was offered to shadow someone, or basically shadowing someone, where I sat with somebody and watched them do the work that I will be doing, which is very easy. I can tell you that. So, so I sat with them, Then I started doing the work that we'll be doing. So I sat there, started doing some of the work for about, I'm gonna say about probably a good hour and a half, for the last hour and a half. So I say it was pretty interesting. Now, of course, as has already been told, it could be tedious at times, and because it's tedious at times, sometimes it can get a little boring. But you know what? It's a check. I'm still gonna get paid. Go to work, do my job, and go home. And that's all I'm going to do. Now, as for dealing with these negative coworkers, I'm just going to ignore them. I'm not even going to. I'm gonna make sure that I sit a far ways from cliquish. I'm not even gonna say cliquish, because you know what? One thing I can say is that I am much older than all of them. Well, most of them, put it that way. And one of the things that I find so funny is how certain things that pop culture that I know or that I've heard of, it's amazing how some of them just never heard of certain things, certain type of TV shows, certain movies that's like in the 80s or 90s. People, 1986, and even 1998. And the fact that they were born in those millennial years, it's amazing how conversations could be so funny when people are talking about certain things, like um, you bring up. Let me see. I can't even give an example. Now I'm not gonna say Michael Jackson. Let me see. They make it seem like things that said is so obscured, but at the same time, some of the things they say or do or part of could be strange to me too. or off the wall, But that's expected, that's really expected. But but in terms of like work ethics, work style, it's like totally like night and day, totally night and day. And I could see why they may be high turnover, certain type of issues that goes on. Because to me, and I don't know if it's more cultural or regarding to race, but I always said that I don't want. I always said that what, it's not always good to work with certain groups of people of the same race. And I'm not gonna say what I mean because people will take it all out of context. But it's kind of like if you don't fall into that clique at work, and you don't fall into that, you know, drama, and being that I said I'm gonna go to work, I'm not gonna be getting all into involved with people in terms of what's going on because I already see that I can see where conflict arises. I can see it. I've worked at one the largest government agency ever, and trust me, it's kind of like mm, I'm not gonna say it was worse, but I could tell it was different. And let me tell you the difference. When I worked at the IRS, I first worked there in 1996, and then I came back in 2006 until 2016. And when I worked there, a lot of the people who worked there, they would be why I am today to people who are millennials. When I worked at the IRS, when I worked there were people who were working there for like 25, 30, 35 years. They were like, you know, they were like 30 years older than me at the time. 25, 30 years. And they held on to the jobs. A lot of people who work at the IRS, when I started working there, they from Atlanta. You ask me, where you from? I'm from here. I'm like, here where? I used to hate when they used to say that. You ask a native Atlantan where they from. You know, they never could. They say Atlanta or Smyrna or wherever. They always say here. I'm like, okay, whatever. And so a lot of people worked at the government straight out of high school, 18 years old, 17, 18. They didn't work anywhere else. They didn't work no other company, no other job, no other experiences. So a lot of them at the time, they all went to the same high school. Now I didn't know back in the day there was only one black high school, Douglas High School in Atlanta. So a lot of these people went to the same high school because there was only one. Now I'm not talking about 1950s and nothing like that. I'm talking about maybe late six. Let me see, maybe late 60s, 70s, or something like that, or whatever. So all these people, and you have to understand, black folks in Atlanta back in the day, before it became this big metropolis city, they either lived in Cascade or, you know, downtown Atlanta, where they lived in most. Well, put it this way: they lived in the neighborhoods that's now gentrified, and other than black folks live there. But majority of them probably lived in like Southwest Atlanta, more in town or whatever. So jobs. When I say entry level, I'm talking like data transcriber where 300 people, 400 people were sitting in a room on these big ass data transcriber machine. It was so old, and they do the coding. Back in the day, Atlanta was one of the processing centers. When you used to live, if you lived on the East Coast, all your tax returns went to Atlanta. That was one of the processing centers. So of course, the positions they had were entry level, GS3, paying not even eight. It wasn't even $8. I want to say it was probably less than that. I don't know. I can't recall what the rate was at that time. But all the positions were very entry level, you know, production job. That's exactly what it was. We had to do so many returns and hours. You're gonna make so many mistakes within a certain time frame. And the attitude was, my cousin worked there, my sister worked there, you know, everybody in a crab barrel mentality, any, but however, if you stood out, meaning you come to work, no issues of attendance, um, you succeed the production goal, you were this team player who did things correctly when it was time to move up, you know, you'll get a chance to be a team leader. Then from a team leader, they may look for someone to be part of the department manager or whatever. And I say that is to give an example is when I left the IRS, it was this person, her name was Janetta. And she started out at that level, you know, probably 18, 19 years old, worked there for 40 something years, and then she moved up and became like one of the third level department heads, I guess you could say, in rank. But she started out as a clerk, regular old clerk, didn't require going to college. She didn't have to have a degree or anything, no advanced degrees or anything. So people have moved up in the ranks at the IRS, but they started from entry level, dead end job. It would have put it this way: it would appear to be a dead end job, but if you assert yourself and you stood out from the rest and not be in that same crab barrel mentality, when it was time to replace people in certain types of positions, and you stay, sometimes if you have longevity, sometimes, most of the time they award those, okay, this person been here for a long time, but it's other things that you also have to contribute as well. Being a team player, exceed production goals, standing out. So working at this company, it reminded me of my experiences with the IRS. The department I'm at is very entry level, real. It don't take a whole lot. Trust me, it is not that hard. Even if I was doing other things, or you know, I guess once I start learning the full life cycle of um, this particular job that I do. But if this company is to maintain its contract with this major company, could really they could really expand and promote from within. Matter of fact, they do promote from within, but you won't know it because nobody really stresses it. Nobody says anything about it. You know, even the trainer. He doesn't really say anything. As a matter of fact, it's probably negative. He's like, well, you'll see. I'll tell. It's like everybody's got that same kind of mentality. Like, just, oh, I'm there for a paycheck. Yeah, I'm there. Yeah, I'm get there to get a paycheck. Kind of, alleviate me doing all these ride sharing gigs, and it's easy work. And it comes with the perks like benefits and things like that. But it's like you have to. One of the things that I know that I'm not gonna do anymore is I'm going to not just take it like, okay, I'm just gonna go to work, get a check, and go home. I'm gonna do that, but I have to set myself a goal as to what it is that just drove by like it ain't nothing. Stupid. Anyways, so my thing is this: I'm gonna take my training in my own hands. I'm not gonna wait till somebody tells us what we need to do. Wait for somebody to do training. I said, let me sit with somebody, let me observe or whatever. If somebody wants to do it. So when the person offers me to sit with them, watch what they're doing, shoot, it ain't gonna hurt no. It ain't gonna hurt to just sit there and learn something. It's better than sitting there in a circle listening to a bunch of people bash other coworkers and smile on their face and do nothing.